Now, as an analyst, you may be involved in a number of things. What we are talking about is the main thing. The main thing, that's key. That's very, very important to focus on the main thing. Now, once you get that right, then developing further will be easy. Thank you. Will be easy because you already know exactly what you want and you know how to research along that line. Okay. I think I should ask, let me ask, what is the core responsibility of an analyst, of a data analyst? What is the one thing that a data analyst should be able to do? What's the main thing that the data analyst should be able to do?
To be able to analyze data and analyze data, present data, analyze data to bring up infer, to bring about present data to and that is analysis, that is analyzing data in general.
In general.
In a short word.
Okay.
Yes, analyzing data, to infer from data, present data, presentation of data, the rest of it.
Yeah. Okay, that's right. That's right. But to analyze data, what key, can we mention some key skills, some key capabilities that the analyst must possess? What are some of the very important skills you must have to succeed in actually analyzing data, to gain insights? Let me give you an instance. Well, by the time I mention one, I've already answered the question anyway. I want you are right, but I want you to drill down a bit, come down to the basics. Let's say you find yourself in an environment, you are the analyst. What will make you succeed? What must you be able to do initially, even before the analysis now? Okay, the analysis is like,
yes,
the analysis is not the beginning of the process.
Yes, as an analyst, you as an analyst should be able to gather data. You should be able to prepare your data.
Yes. Yes.
Gathering of data, preparation of data. Analyzing for proper insight.
Okay, that's correct. Any addition to that? David has not. I hope David is not having issue. Let me forward this link to him directly.
Forward it to him again.
Yeah, let me forward it to him. So we're looking at the general nature of analytics. So I was asking, what we've been discussing is, as an analyst, you find yourself in an environment. Okay, what are some of these skills you should possess that will help you to succeed as an analyst? What are some of the key skills? we've had some points have been identified that the analyst is responsible for analyzing data, is responsible for preparing data for analysis. Is there any other thing, anything else for gathering data? Okay, basically that's it. That's it. But sometimes I like to get into some very fundamental aspects that can easily be overlooked. First of all, an analyst should be an observant person. Okay? We should be able to inspect data, observe, make observations. Okay? Just look at the data. Think. Analysis has to do with its brain work. Try to understand the data. In fact, first of all, analysis is about solving problems, right? It's about organizing data to gain insights for the purpose of accomplishing certain goals. Okay. So, from the onset, the analyst should know about what those goals are. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
The analyst should know the aim. What's the aim? I mean, you don't just analyze for the sake of analyzing. Why are you analyzing? The insights you are going to do. Why are those insights needed? What would they be used for? What's the goal? What's the overall goal? So you should know the mission. What's the mission of the organization? What's the vision? What are the short and long-term goals of the organization? You should know, you should be aware of those things, which means you should ask questions. You should know the kind of questions to ask. Okay, ask questions. What is management trying to achieve? What insight or information is most important to manage to the decision makers? Okay. Now, in certain systems, when you are working in certain environments, they tell you all these things. Okay, they just tell you. They just sit you down. They just brief you, tell you everything, tell you what is important, what they need in very specific terms, and that makes your work easier, right? But not every organization is that organized. Some organizations are not like that. Okay. As it were, in some organizations, you do a lot of things on your own. Okay. The information they give you is minimal. So you have to be the one asking questions to get those information. Okay. So you know what the goals are. When you know what the goals are, then you will know the kind of information needed. Okay. Ask them, they will tell you the kind of information and decision that is important to them. So based on that, that is what you form the end product of your work. Okay, which means at the end of the day, what the final data, whether it's the dashboards or reports or whatever you come up with, should be able to meet those needs that you have been informed about. Okay. All right. So it's like knowing the end at the beginning. You have to know where you are going before you start working at it. Are we on the same page?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hope my explanation is clear to everyone.
It's clear to me.
Yeah, so you should know where
Yes, sir.
you should know the aim. Where are you going? That will help you to know what is important. Okay. And then by the time the data available, sometimes it's so not it's not clean data. It's not very organized data. Okay. So that's why data preparation is usually done. Okay. Data cleaning and data preparation is usually done. So you identify data you want. So you might be given some very large data sets with several columns. Maybe you have data set with 30 columns. It may be that all you need there is just 2 or 3 columns. That may be all you need. And you should be able to identify those columns. Okay. So those are the things you did that observation skill, the ability to really settle down, look at things, you know, just inspect the data, just take a look, just go through it, think of what you want to do and all that. That's very, very important. That's key. That's very key. Then, by the time you look at the data, when you look at the data, you should be able to know the kind of data that is summarizable. Okay, all through this course, I always, from time to time, I think I mentioned things like that. When you look at data, if you look at a particular column, for example, you should be able to tell if this is a column that can be summarized or not. Okay, some cannot be summarized, some can be summarized. When there are repetitions, lots of repetitions, then you know you can summarize the data. Okay, but when there are no repetitions, when all the values are unique, there's no analysis. I mean, you can hardly do any meaningful summarizing with such data. Okay, so those are the things that you should pay attention to. Is it summarizable? Then what kind of summaries are important? You know, you should be able to think about that. Take, for instance, let me give you an instance. Take, for instance, you are working with a school and, okay, let's say we're talking about JAMB. Let's use JAMB, for example. Is it JAMB or UTME now? I think they call it UTME. UTME, for instance. Okay, they did the exam, they've done the exam, and there is need to know for the past 3 years, I want to know the performance trend. Okay, performance trends, general performance trend in the past 3 years or in the past 5 years. What kind of summary do you think? What kind of summary do you think would be needed in this case? What kind of values or statistics do you think would be needed in such a case?
I think first of all, the dates will be important.
The what?
Then the dates,
Dates.
dates of
The dates.
yes,
Dates.
yes, the dates, yes, dates.
Okay.
Then when you are summarizing such kind of data,
When you say dates now, maybe year or
yes, the year, months,
okay.
or the year, month, or week. I think it's about timing.
Okay.
Then I think the final most times I think the trend line stuff is what we usually use to summarize and analyze these things.
Okay.
To check for the trend line.
Okay.
Mostly.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I didn't get the last point you made. Mostly what?
I say mostly we use line charts for
Line
summarizing.
charts.
Yes.
Okay. Line charts. Okay. Okay. Thanks for the contribution. Okay. Yeah. You are still talking,
So
right?
generally,
Okay, that's Mr.
no,
Okay. Please continue.
no. So generally, in summary, we'll be looking at numerical and nominal datas, and we'll be also be looking at one of the most important column we'll be looking at here is reg number, registration numbers, which of course we outline every student that is involved in this examination.
Okay.
Right, then we'll also be looking at maybe centers or regions or states where the exams are taken.
Okay.
They will also be looking at gender.
It's
also
okay.
be looking at gender. Yeah.
I was saying that performance trend of students in JAMB in the past 5 years. Now, this can take different dimensions, just like can take different dimensions. Like Mr. Doty said, we could be talking about analysis state-wise. There can be analysis by state or for region or whatever, or states, by states where the exam was taken. There could be gender-based analysis, even age and so forth. Okay, there are different dimensions of analysis. Okay, now for that one, of course, if that is needed, you'll be told the different ones. But if we just want to do a general performance analysis, just general, okay, as in general performance analysis, what figure, I mean, okay, let me keep it simple. You know what I'm saying is this: performance trend of students in JAMB in the past 5 years. In other words, performance of students in the first year versus second year versus third year versus fourth year versus fifth year. That's what I'm saying. So how best do you think this can be done? Not by state, not by gender, not by age, just generally. What do you think can be
You
done?
use the score of the students
Okay.
each year.
So now you are going to the direction I want now. Okay, go ahead. Use the score
You
of the
use this.
student.
Yes.
Okay. Continue. How are you going to use it?
Then, if it's a general, you will check for the first year.
Yes.
Right? The dates for the year, the first year, the ratio of, or the average score of the
Yes.
student in the first year.
Yes.
Then you check for the average score of the student in the second year as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
And it go on like that, the third year, fourth year, and you see the differences.
Okay. That's fine. That's step one. That's fine. Then what kind of present, how are you going to present that? What kind of visualization would you use for that?
We have four or five. Sometimes we can use maybe column charts. You visualize for the first year, average score first year,
Yeah.
average score second year, third year, fourth year. So
Thank you. That's good. That's very good. All right. So that's the point. That's good. So that shows we know what I'm talking about. So you see now, I just told you about a problem, and then you guys are reasoning and bringing a solution. Okay. And that shows that you are analyst indeed. Okay. Yeah. So you see this now. How did you know that? I mean, the word I was looking for is the word average, mean. Okay, that's the main big point, because there are different statistics. Okay, there's some, there's average, there is or mean, okay, and others, right? Now, but apart from the mean, of course, for real in-depth statistics, other statistics can be gotten or should be gotten as well. But the most important here is mean. In this case, the most important is mean. Okay. SD can also be gotten. Standard deviation can be gotten. Okay, the standard deviation will give you an idea of how spread the scores are, how divergent they are. You can also get the minimum and the maximum. Okay, you can do a comparison of mean, comparison of minimum, comparison of maximum, and those kind of things. but the most important in this scenario is the mean. Okay, so the mean will give you an idea of the trend. Okay, are the students performing better and better, or is the performance going down, or there's really no fixed order? Okay, if for instance performance is going down, then they may have to look into it to see why it is like that. Okay, and if performance is going up, they should also check to see what change that is making performance to go up. You know, so that is that. In this case, you see the specific question I asked: performance trends, performance trend. That's what we are looking for. Okay. There could be registration trend. I hope you know that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, there should be a trend.
Yeah.
That can also be analyzed. Are more people registering for JAMB or less people are registering for JAMB? You understand? How many people registered 5 years ago? How many people registered 4 years ago? How many people registered? Okay. Then you could also do a ratio of the number of people that registered and the number of people that actually did it. Those are all different kind of things, kind of information that may be needed. You find yourself in such settings, of course, they will tell you exactly what is needed. Okay, they'll tell you exactly what is needed. Okay, so once they tell you what is needed, then you should be able to know the information, the data you need to be able to accomplish that. So like already said, if this can be visualized with a column chart can be used for this, or bar chart can be used for this. Can be used for this. Even although there are few, but if you like, you can start to also use a line chart or area chart. But you don't really have to use a line chart, but you can, even though it's just 5 points. If they are spaced, you still see the trend and all that, or area chart. Okay, but a column chart can handle it because the number of items here is not much. Okay. All right. So are we clear with that? Any addition or questions on that? Any questions?
Let's move ahead.
We should move ahead. Okay, now to answer the original question I asked, I was asking what is the skill that some of the skills that an analyst should have. You know, to begin with, I'm talking about I'm not talking about the of course there are those things that we generally know, like should be able to prepare data, should be able to analyze data, should be able to prepare reports, summarize data, create dashboards, all those things. Okay. You know, but before you get to that point, you know, they say there's this saying in computing, we say garbage in, garbage out. So that original data that is gotten, you should be able to capture the data, you should be able to capture it. If you have any challenge, then you can find a way, just convert the data to if you can convert the data to CSV format, you know, import it and then you use it. Okay. in many cases, you should be able to do such a thing. In most cases, okay. If it's a case of very complex, where data is very, very complex, maybe some very complex systems are used in the organization. Usually in such cases, they give you special training, okay, additional training, so that you to familiarize you with their environment, okay. So that's usually how it is done. If they are using the kind of systems that are not common, that is kind of, you know, complex and not common at all, then, you know, but generally most systems will allow you to convert data to CSV format. And if it's a place where they have both data scientists and data analysts, of course, the data scientists will help with taking care of any complexities that may involve very technical stuff, you know. So that shouldn't be an issue. So, like I've already said, the important thing in the beginning is to be able to think, ask questions, to get exactly what you want, be able to get the data, merge, transfer the data into where you are going to analyze it. The most popular, like I said, is like CSV, you know, and you are good to go. And you must also learn to, you must be able to collaborate. Don't just do everything alone. As you ask questions, you can also discuss what you are going to do, what you plan to do. You know, put it down, discuss it, so that they know exactly what to expect at the end of your work. Then we should know the types and dimensions of data, the types of data. We talked about data types. Okay? That's already well known. And then the dimensions of data. What I mean by dimensions of data is that, you know, there are simple data, there are complex data, okay? Some data are complex, some are simple. For example, let's say, for instance, you are dealing with multiple, like these days, sometimes all you may need to do is, in some cases, these days, where SQL has become, you know, very popular among data analysts, sometimes you may be asked to run queries, okay? Run queries to get useful information, you know. So there are times when you have to deal with multiple tables, for example, compared to when you are dealing with one table. You may have to use joins. You have to use joins, okay? Or let's say you are working with Power BI, you may have to use more than one data set. That's when I say dimensions now, that's like, that's more complex than when you are just working with only one data set, okay? When you are working with multiple data sets, then you begin to talk about things like, okay, let me ask you, if you are working with multiple data sets, let's say you are required to use the data set to create visualization in an environment like Power BI, what would you do to accomplish that? What would that entail, which is not involved, which will not be needed, which is usually not needed in simple, if you are using one data set? Hope my question is clear to you. I'm not hearing you clearly. Mr. Dottie, can you hear him?
No, I can't hear him. He's breaking.
Okay, your line is breaking, David. We can't hear you.
Sir.
We are not hearing you.
Oh, sorry.
Maybe you can change position or something.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's better.
Yes, I can hear you now.
So when you are using more data sets in environments like Power BI, you know,
Yeah.
most times that relationship connection
Okay.
will be very vital
Okay.
with connecting the two data
Sets. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So, in such a situation, you have to define the relationship, okay? If any. Define the relationship between the data sets, okay? If any, okay? If that is possible or necessary. There are some cases where it's not necessary. Okay, how do you know it's not necessary, or if it's not feasible or possible? Just look at the two data sets. If they don't have anything in common, any features or columns in common, you cannot define a relationship between them. Okay, and that may not be a problem. That may not be a problem. Okay, because the data naturally are not connected. So in creating your reports, you just get some you use data from one of these data sets for some visualization and use data from the other data set for some other visualizations within the same dashboard. Okay, so that's possible. But where there can be a relationship, it is advisable to create a relationship. Okay, so that we should understand and have, like I've told you now, that how do you know if you can have a relationship? Just look at the columns. Do they have any similar columns? Let's say, for instance, you are dealing with sales data, and then you look through the two data sets, and you see that maybe they have something like maybe something like product ID, for instance, in common. That might be it might be important to create a relationship between them. Okay, that's just an example. But when there's nothing at all in common, just forget it. It's not to be necessary to do that. Then, of course, data types, we know the data types. I mean, I think we talked about that over and over and over again in this course. So I don't think anybody will have challenges with that. Okay, we already know the difference, when to use how to handle numeric and how to handle descriptive or categorical data. Okay, we already know that. Yeah. Then talking about dimensions of data, apart from having multiple data sets, we also have a situation where you have very large data sets, very large data sets. Now, if you have large data sets, okay, you know, the example I'm giving you now is because, you see, the point at the end of the day, the most important thing is to have a final product, which is usually a dashboard or reports. That's all. That's all. And That's why tools like Power BI and Excel continue to be very, very, very relevant. Okay, because these are the tools that are mostly used for those kind of things. Okay. Yeah. So there are situations where the data set is a very large one. In such a case, Power BI shines. Power BI can handle very, very, very large, complex data, without stress. Okay. But if it's Excel you are using, then you can use something like Power Pivot. Remember Power Pivot?
Yes, sir.
So you can use something like that. So that will help you to handle such complex data. You cannot handle complex data with ordinary Excel. It doesn't work. You have to go through use tools like Power Pivot. Okay. So that is that. These are some things you must be conversant with. Learning continues. Learning doesn't end in training. So it continues. But if you have all these, if you know all these things, then it's very easy for you to continue. As you research further, you see yourself getting stronger and stronger, getting better and better, because the foundation is already there. Okay. Now, tools and techniques, of course, we use some tools in this course. Okay, so try to be as proficient as possible. Okay, some of these tools you are seeing, they are very, very important. When you go out there, you see that there are lots of opportunities. Okay, but those opportunities are usually enjoyed by experts, people who are very, very professional in using those tools, by real experts. So that's why you should continue to practice, continue to strengthen your hands in those tools. Okay. Excel alone, as common and simple as it is, Excel alone, you'll be amazed at what people are making with just Excel. Okay. Out there, people are making a lot of money with just Excel. Not to talk of when you now add like Power BI to it. Okay. And Python too, just continue. As you continue to explore those tools, you see that you get stronger and stronger and stronger. That's just the key. I always give example with driving. I always use that as an example because that's just how it works. That's how it works. It's similar. Like I used to tell, I used to say very frequently that you cannot really become an expert in driving school. And it's true, okay? Yeah, driving school teaches you helps you to acquire the skill. But it's as you continue to use those skills and develop those skills further, that's when you become an expert. That's just how it is. There's no shortcut to that. There's no shortcut. Okay. Yeah, now that takes us to then techniques. Talking about techniques. Now, tools. Those are tools. We know the various tools. There are techniques. Now, if you have a problem, you need to find solution to a problem, you should know how to go about it. Okay? Yeah, like the way we responded to the question I asked earlier, I mean, I was very happy to hear those kind of response. You know, it shows that I mean, we have really learned something. Now, when you see a problem, you should know, for example, when you see a problem, you should know if it's a regression problem or a problem that, like the question I asked regarding this JAMB question thing, this was just, what is just needed is just descriptive statistics. That's all. Okay. Just needed descriptive statistics, average or something. That's all. Just needed summarize to some people, summarize data and use some descriptive statistics. So when you see a problem, you should understand the type of technique to use for solving that problem. That's why you should take your time to study the problem, understand the nature of the problem. Okay. And then most of the analysts' work is, you know, descriptive in nature, most of them, you know. But if you find yourself in some very big establishments, you know, you might be expected to support research work on SQL a lot, where you just run queries and all that. If you are working with other data professionals like data scientists and all that, okay? Yeah, so the techniques for solving a problem should be known so that you don't use the wrong approach for the right problem. Okay? Am I communicating?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you are.
So that's very key. That's very, very key. Okay. These things I'm sharing with you, these are the things you really need. The knowledge of the tools continue to grow as long as you continue to attempt to use those tools. Okay? The knowledge, you just see yourself getting more and more and more experienced. Okay? But the fundamentals, the rudiments should be there. You should know what, when they talk about a particular technique, you should know what it's about. What is it about? Okay? It's just like, for instance, like when we're talking about this, we could identify that this kind of problem, that we can visualize this with just a column chart, okay? Or line chart. Those are techniques. That's what I mean by techniques. So we are using the right techniques for the right problem. Okay. Now, if now you see something like this and you are thinking of scatter plots, you know, it shows a lack of understanding. That will show lack of understanding. Okay. Yeah. So that's very, very key as well. Then summarizing data is an indispensable task. That is almost like the most important thing in analytics. So you must always think of how to summarize data. How would you summarize the data? For instance, we are talking about this trend. Maybe over 1 million people wrote JAMB. For this over 1 million, you can see we're analyzing the whole thing with just five figures. Just 5 figures. That's the power of summary for you. Only 5 figures to analyze something that involves millions of people. That's the power of summary. So we should know the type of summary that is needed. Is it sum? Is it average? What kind is needed? It's indispensable. So always think of how to summarize data. Like I told you before, now when you are dealing with numeric data and you want to create summaries, then you have to be thinking in terms of statistics like mean and all that. And, median and those kind of things. But if it's categorical data, then you have to be talking of, you can now be some group, creating groups like something like a frequency distribution table, something like that. You understand? So the frequency of each occurrence is what you now be looking at in such a case. Okay. Yeah, then like I've said over and over again, research is key. Keep researching. How do you research? Your Google is there. And today, AI is very, very, very useful, very important. AI is very useful these days. Okay. If you just do a simple Google search, sometimes it's the AI just answers you, get the answer from AI, and most of the time, those answers are very useful, very, very useful. So, of course, that cannot replace training, but after you have undergone training, then you really need such to support your growth and updates of your knowledge. You really, really need it. Okay, so take advantage of it. Take advantage of it. Very important. Google is there, making life very easy. I can remember those days where there were, we didn't have some of these things. Research was very, very difficult. You move from library to library looking for books all over the place. Okay, because remember sometimes when preparing for some exams, I will go up and down for, when I'm able to get a book where some of the things I need is, I will photocopy and photocopy and photocopy. I ended up having a lot of big photocopied books. Okay, but now we don't need to go through all that. Don't need to go through all that. So we have a lot of free resources that can help us to develop ourselves further. A lot of them. Yeah, so in addition to all that has been said, we need to understand that as a professional, there are certain things that might complement your skill. Okay, some things can complement your skill. For example, presentation skills and storytelling. Okay, can be important. Should be able to, should be conversant with such, develop that skill. Should be able to present reports to an audience very effectively. Okay, should be good at telling story, carrying an audience along and all that. So you can get resources on that, and then just read and update yourself on things like that. If you have that kind of skill, it will be an advantage to you. Then you should also be used to office productivity tools.
This number 6, Presentation skill. No, okay. We've talked on the number 7, the office productivity tools, and we also I think we're on the presentation skill and storytelling.
Okay, let me just put it this way: presentation and storytelling skills. Okay, yeah, this presentation.
Yes.
What I'm saying is, you should be able to design presentations, maybe using something like PowerPoint, and also be able to use it to, present to an audience, right? Maybe share some
Yes.
report with an audience. Okay, and then you should be able to do presentation, and you should be good at storytelling. Storytelling is that is the presentation itself, okay? Practical presentation, presenting to an audience, okay? I've just put it this way because all I'm trying to say is that you should be able to create the slides, the presentation, and you'll be able to deliver it. That's the storytelling part of it now. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
So, yes, and during that course, you also mentioned, keeping your audience, awake or alive during your presentation.
Yes.
By giving them, good stories. Storytelling could also include, aside explaining the slide to the understanding of the audience, you still also have to make the presentation class also very interesting by, bringing in some other stories that will keep them alive.
To spice it up.
Be related.
Yeah.
Yes, you need to spice it up.
Yes.
People like, they do very well in our organization because you make themselves visible.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. When you are making presentation to managers, or you have opportunity to deliver a slide or presentation slide before managers and directors, you see, they want to see one of the things they also want to see is your eloquence, how eloquent you are.
Definitely, yes, definitely. Yes.
Making your presentation.
The strength of your communication, how good you are in communication.
Yes. And that alone, because they may not be there in your department working with you.
Exactly.
But with that
can sell you to those that matter.
In fact, it's an avenue to sell yourself. I remember why I worked then. When we have such opportunity, when they will tell us that, oh man, you are going to present, we'll be having a meeting, and you are the one that is going to make presentation. So please, these are the slides, go and study them. Wow.
Yeah.
So we hearing things, please don't disappoint us. Make sure you sell us as a department. As a unit.
Yes.
So so when you get there, you do everything possible to make sure that you sell. You are not just selling your unit, you are also selling yourself.
Exactly. Yes. That's true.
When it will come for appraisers, when those managers will sit down, when your name is mentioned, say, we know that guy. We know that guy. Come on, that guy.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
So that is it. So what I'm trying to say is, especially for people who are still wanting to go into the labor market, especially the young ones, it's important they have these skills. Very, very important. They should learn it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the resources are there. There are lots of resources, books, e-books, all sorts of things are all over the place, which you can use to learn those things. You can even buy hard copy book. Go to a good bookshops, you see they are there. Just
and another thing again, that is why one needs to be very versatile.
Yeah.
Any books that come your way, read it.
Read it.
Any news that comes your way, listen to it.
Yeah.
Anything anything from sport to science to anything, just catch it.
Just keep yourself updated.
Bit by bit. I'm telling you, so that when you are making presentation, you can say something.
Yeah.
You can just say something. That's it.
Yes.
You can just say something.
You can use football to give example of certain things. For
just
example.
Football. I mean, yes.
Yeah.
That is just it.
That's it. Yeah, very correct. Thanks for that that powerful contribution there. That's it. I totally agree with you. Then, in fact, you just really spiced up that point now. That's it. That's just the full picture of it. Then I was talked also of office productivity tools. These are the presentation could fall in there too, but mostly things like word processing. You know what I mean by word processing?
Yes.
Okay, word processing.
Yes.
Like Microsoft Word, like spreadsheets.
Microsoft Word, yes.
Okay, we already are okay with spreadsheets anyway. That's Excel. Excel was one of our, main tool in this course. So
PowerPoint.
yes, PowerPoint is also there. But since we have already talked about that on number 6, those are the two most important. Plus the PowerPoint. Let's just add it here. Any other one? Yeah, these are the two most important. But sometimes you find yourself using some simple graphical tools as well. But let me not add those ones. Okay. But these ones are key. These ones we just mentioned now are key, very key. Very, very key. Okay. Yeah. So you should be used to all this. For instance, with your word process, like your Word, you can use it to actually use to write reports and maybe save the report as a PDF for distribution. Okay. Okay, that's where communication still comes in again. Should be, very okay with communication. You write up, check it for grammatical or, make sure there are no grammatical errors. Okay, your colors and everything. If it's a company, you can, use the brand color. Okay, use the brand color. Let's say you are working with MTN. Okay, let yellow, be prominent in what you are doing, any report you want to create. When the decision makers will see that, they'll be very happy, because they like the brand to be, promoted at all times. Yeah. So of course, yes. Okay.
On the office productivity tool, we may also want to add what's it called again? This email exchange.
Yeah. That's correct. What do you call it? Microsoft. What? Outlook. Thank you. Outlook. Yeah.
What Outlook? Yes.
Outlook. Yeah. Yeah. You may add that as well. Some companies use such tools. Okay. All those commonly used tools in office setting. Okay. When you are able to use them, those tools are meant to be used by everybody. You don't have to be a professional in them. Whatever your area is, especially if it's IT related, I mean, you should be used to some of these. Should be used to some of these tools. Okay. And of course, you should be very organized, very, very organized. We've talked about, let's assume that communication falls in here, but let's put it separately. Communication. Communication should know how to communicate both in writing, you know, verbal and non-verbal.
We can call it effective communication.
Effective communication, yes. Verbal and non-verbal communication. Okay, it's very key, very important. Verbal and non-verbal communication. You know, there are some communication that has to do with speaking, talking, writing, and all that. But there are also some communication that are not verbal. They are not words in words. Okay. They are not in words. Gestures, all those, there are other ways that you pass points. So, we should be, sensitive to such. Should be sensitive to such, okay? Because we work in social environments. We are not working with pieces of wood and iron, and so that is that. So we must be part of the system. That way, we'll fit well into the system. Then information flows to us very easily. And those information will help us to be more effective in our work. Okay. Suggestions, and everything. Questions, people can easily ask us questions. Even when, and we can also easily ask people questions and all that. Okay. So these are some of the things. So you should be generally professional. You should be generally professional. Maintain a high professional standard. High professional standard. Okay. Maintain a high professional standard. That involves a lot of things.
And also don't one thing again, timekeeping is also very important.
Yeah, that's part. In fact, I was thinking about that. That's part of this. That's part of this. Dressing.
Yes. So
punctuality, and so on.
yeah.
So on. You see some people, even if they have a very, some people don't know that some of these things are very important. If for some reason you have to be late, don't just, you communicate it. Maybe something happened and you won't be able to meet up. Always communicate to the person, whoever is in authority. That's very, very important. Very important. Some people don't know that such is important. You work in an organization, if there are dress codes, make sure you follow those dress codes. Okay. Maintain professional demeanor. Apologize when you need to apologize and all those kind of things. Address people properly. Okay, avoid the coarse talk and all those. Yeah, you can be jovial, but know where to draw the line. Just know where to draw the line in the profession, in the work environment. So that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Okay. So all these things are in place, they will always shine. Okay. Will always shine. Then for those of us that will be involved in job search, there are several ways you can get jobs these days. You can try something like LinkedIn. Okay, you are active on LinkedIn. There are lots of opportunities. Just keep trying. You see that some of them will come through for you. You know, you can try freelancing. There are a number of freelancing sites these days. Okay, like what do they call it again? There's this popular one.
Which one is that?
Let me check. I know the former name. It used to be called Odesk. They later changed it to again. Just Upwork is like the most popular, although their standard is so high now, they are now like tightening things up. So you can try registering with Upwork. And it's becoming kind of because the people that use it are not so many, it's no more free like before anymore. These days it involves some amount of expenses as well. You know, you have to you pay certain amounts, those small amounts, to buy units that you use to apply for work. You know, it used to be free. It used to be free, but there are others. This Fiverr they call it. Fiverr is also, I think that's the next most popular one now. Just a minute, let me just check some. Yeah, Fiverr. Fiverr is the next one. Fiverr is also very popular. Okay. Then there's freelancer.com. Okay. So these are some of the options. I mean, just generally just check, you know, online. People get jobs online a lot these days. Update your LinkedIn profile. You know, there's a way you can post that you are looking for a job. Okay, so once you do that, recruiters, some of them they will be contacting you. Before you know what's happening, you get something. Okay, so that's that. Look around. Even in Nigeria here, there are. I'm not. Somebody was telling me of this. Even within Nigeria here as well. Just You can just go to Google, job vacancies in Nigeria, even through LinkedIn. Some of those people, many of them, since you are here, your address is there. Many of those people that will approach you are companies in Nigeria. Some are international, but most of them are in Nigeria, maybe in Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, and all that. Of course, when you also contact friends and people you know, before you know what's happening, you get a job. Before you know what's happening, you get a job. So it doesn't take much time, actually. But the only thing is just keep preparing yourself, keep updating yourself. That's the most important thing. All right, so I think that does it. So, any question? Any question? But I'd like to see that that project, or the project for that dashboard. I'd like us to still do it.
It's still it's still there.
It's still
It's
there.
okay.
You
Well,
can use the.
like you said,
It's an opportunity to develop
say,
a skill.
yes, that is interesting. You know, learning is continuous, like you said.
Yes, it's continuous.